Using Cook and Barron's findings on the investigations into the viability of public transport in developing cities, we reflect on our amazing race around Cape Town and on the question of what makes public transport viable. We focused our exploration on the connections between land use, density, and public transport thresholds.
Our route took us from Rondebosch in the southern suburbs up to Athlone, UWC in Belleville, the Belleville Station, Century City, and via Voortrekker Road and Salt River Station back to UCT. Our first taxi was empty and was willing to take us directly to Athlone Stadium using the freeway. The driver was prepared to forego the possibility of picking up other passengers. We infer that this is because we were going through a low-density, mono-land-use residential area, as can be seen now. From the stadium, we drove along Klipfontein Road. Although the land use along it is mainly residential, Klipfontein is a busy transport corridor. Our experience here was that the taxi stopped many times to pick up passengers and overloaded, as there are not many stops along the way. Thus, overloading was the best way to achieve the transport threshold needed.
How often do you take the taxi?
4 days a week.
4 days a week. And how long do you spend getting to campus every day?
Like hour and a half.
Okay. And you said that you spend quite a lot on that.
Yeah, 37 days.
37 rand every day. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Nadine's experience of long waiting periods illustrate how low-density, poorly articulated areas require the taxi driver to stop and wait for riders in order to meet their ridership thresholds. This is inefficient for the user. Due to the large number of people that attend UWC, routes to and from it are viable, despite the corridor being poorly articulated and there being little residential areas in close proximity. Belleville Station is a busy intersection between trains, taxis and buses. Because we'd had such efficient taxis previously, we opted to take a taxi from Belleville Station to Century City. Although Voortrekker Road has well-articulated population density and mixed land uses, which make public transport viable, we found it very slow as the taxis stopped often. It is notable that the first taxi in Rondebosch did not stop and wait, perhaps because the low density meant the likelihood of passengers was not high.
We opted for minibus taxi in Belleville. Turns out it wasn't the greatest option. We probably should have gone with a train. But so now we took a taxi to Vanguard Drive and we're waiting for another taxi to get to Canal Walk. And they're coming.
The first formal public transport we took was a MyCity bus from Canal Walk to Marumba. We were the only passengers on the bus and it stopped quite often. It was around 11, so the emptiness of the bus may have been due to the time of day. However, we also noticed that the area has a low density in population.
Lastly, we took the train from Salt River. Salt River is an area where we saw a mixture of land uses and articulated density around the rail and main roads. This could explain the flow of human traffic.